Hi, Mike Claessens,
Walter von Hune.
and we're back. We're going to talk today about something. We've got a lot of table in front of us, and there's a reason for that we'll get into a little bit later. And we've also are doing this because we belong to a neighborhood organization called EPIC. It's EPIC, which is Emergency Preparedness in the Community, and our group does a fantastic job of preparing our community for emergencies and disasters. They publish a monthly newsletter, and they also do a lot of in-person training. And so we said, hey, we're doing this video channel, and maybe we can help. And they said, yeah, well, let's see how it goes. Well, let's try one. So this is it. This is our inaugural effort, and we'll just see how it goes. And we're going to talk about the three types of disasters today, and then also the kind of preparedness that you need in order to get out or stay in your house, but mostly to be able to get out.
Why don't you
So,
talk about the three different scenarios?
yeah, so the way I see the different disaster scenarios that we realistically could expect here in the Pacific Northwest is one would be a situation like a large earthquake that would kill all of our utilities and our communication. But for the most part, our houses would remain standing and probably habitable. And so in that situation, I think a lot of people would choose, especially me, I think I would choose to stay and live here rather than make my way to an emergency shelter somewhere because I've seen that and that's not appealing. The second option is a situation where, or second situation is where you have to leave because you're in there's a large fire and a high wind event, and they've combined, and they're pushing massive amounts of fire, say, towards your house, and you just have no choice. You've got to go. And then the third situation or scenario is where you're out away from your house, and you're on the road somewhere, and either there's a disaster that hits or something more mundane, like just a heavy storm, or something like that, where the roads are blocked and you're stuck out there in the middle of no place, where with no assistance, where you and 2,000 other cars are out on the highway, bumper to bumper, and can't move because you can't get off the highway,
Yeah.
and you're not moving at all because of whatever's blocking the road. So you're just sort of stuck there, and what you have in your car is what you're going to use to support yourself while you wait for it to clear up. And it could be soon, or in the past, it could be several days. So you have to prepare for that.
You've been through a couple of those situations
Yeah,
yourself. I've been through a major fire myself where
yeah.
it destroyed everything. Why don't you talk about the two things that happened to you? The one where you had to leave. Talk about that one
Yeah,
first.
the one where I had to leave was uh, heavy rainstorms and flooding after a serious fire that happened above our home. And the county just, they didn't tell us to leave. What they did instead was they just came out and put these large K rails all the way around our house and other houses in the community to try and protect them from flooding and mudslides. And and so we got the message and realized that we're just not going to be able to handle this. We need to get out. So we left and moved in with our daughter for a while.
Yeah, what for us, we were living in Northern California, Santa Rosa, during the Tubbs fire. That we got woken up at 3 in the morning and said, get out now! The fire is coming." We grabbed what we could without knowing what we were grabbing, put it in the car, and got out of there. And the house burned down at 5:30 in the morning. And matter of fact, the whole neighborhood burned down. But we weren't prepared, and that's what this video is about: is preparedness and getting ready. And you were with a fire where you didn't leave.
Right. Even though the fire it came all the way down. This is the fire that preceded the winter of flooding. The fire came all the way down to our neighbors across the street and burned everything. I could tell that it wasn't going to approach us because of the wind and everything. So we decided that we would stay, even though the sheriff is there telling us to get out, ordering us to get out. I just didn't see the point of leaving our house and going to a high school gym with 2,000 of my closest neighbors. So we stayed in our home, and it was a good decision. We sealed everything up so we wouldn't have smoke damage, and we just rode it out, and it worked out fine. But every scenario is different. So We're here today to talk about what you need in those three situations.
Right, exactly. The thing is here with Epic is everything is how do you prepare, what do you do, how do you contact, etc. And the thing that I don't know if you experience this, but I experience this when an emergency happens and you gotta leave, you have to leave, and everything goes out the window in your head because it's a real emergency. And so that's why you have a preparedness. And one of the things that we are going to talk about here are the bug out bags and what you would need in a bag that you could grab right away if you need to get out. That's the first scenario. So
Right. So the first scenario we talk about, which is where we're going to shelter in place for a while, doesn't really require a bug out bag. I don't think that's necessary.
right, okay.
The second scenario you're talking about with your situation where you had to leave because of the fire, that does. And also the third scenario where you're stuck in your car during a crisis and you can't, and you're just stuck there, that requires some sort of a bag that has things in it that allows you to survive during that period of time. So in terms of a bug out bag, the FEMA talks about it, and Red Cross has some ideas about it. It boils down to categories of preparedness. So, like for instance, do you have enough food? Do you have a first aid kit? Do you have your medications? Are you prepared with hygiene? Do you have have you thought about self-defense? What about shelter? The kind of documentation you need to bring, tools, water, of course, and then if you if you're going to be out there, you probably need some way to stay warm. So fire, what it's going to take in order to be able to build a fire and that sort of thing. And it just depends on how far you want to get into it, how much in the weeds you want to go.
Right. Well, you're talking about the bug out bag right now, and the one thing too that we never thought about, and that is medication. We, we have health issues of some sort, not serious, but you need medicine. And if you are running and you get out of your house and there's a major emergency, believe me, if there's a 9.0 earthquake where we live, the pharmacy isn't going to be open for you to get that medication right away. So to have your pills or whatever you need in your bug out bag, and then you can change it out every month, every 2 months, whatever you think. Use those pills, put new ones in, but have that you are prepared. A couple other things that I would suggest, which is important, have your car at least a half full of gas at all times. If you need to get out and there's stuff going on, you're not going to find a gas station. Or if you do, there's going to be 80 cars lined up in front of you to try to get gas if a place is open. And that's where, when our emergency happened, we had probably about a quarter tank of gas. And I was thinking to myself, I don't know what we're going to do if we got to really drive somewhere. That's the second thing. The other thing I would think about is your paperwork.
Yeah. So, the paperwork has gotten less important. The actual paper part of the paperwork has become less important as things go online and everything's getting more electronic. But you still need to be thinking about what you need. I mean, you Walter, you suggested, taking driver's license and insurance papers.
Insurance papers, passports.
Yeah.
If you're not born here, get your citizenship papers or your birth certificate. Get your birth certificate no matter what. Get those papers. Have them in one place in your house, or you can make copies and put them in your bug out bag. That you have that. Because time comes and you need to get copies, your social security cards, stuff like that. It's really important. And the other thing I'll say, which is you're in bed, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden this emergency happens and you got to get out, but there's no electricity. Nothing is working. have a flashlight or a lantern or something by your bed or in your nightstand or something that you can actually look around. So that's what I feel is if you have a bug out bag, that's important. You want to talk about the bug in bag, so to speak.
Yeah, and yeah, the bug in bag is where you're out away from your house and what it is that you need to be able to have with you in order to help you get back to your home. You know, in a situation like a snowstorm or another problem that prevents you from driving your car home for some reason, and what you need to be able to take with you to get home. So I have a bag here. I put one, and you can tell the difference between a prepper and a non-prepper. A non-prepper has a bag, and a prepper has several bags. And unfortunately, I have several bags. So,
Why don't you get them?
yeah, so I'll show you the base bag, and then I can talk about how I augment things. But that's the green one there. That's the main bag here.
There we go.
Okay, and then I'll talk about augmenting augmenting this bag, and also this bag is at home, and it also goes with me when I travel. And this is just my bag. I have one that's identical for Cindy, so we carry two of these things when we're really traveling. And like I said, I prepared this several years ago. It's based on the categories of fire, food, first aid, meds, hygiene, self-defense, documentation, tools, and water. Each of those categories, and this was my expression of my efforts, and this was like 4 years ago, and I really haven't been in it since, so I don't really know what's in here. But I also will say that I always drive around in my car with a first aid kit, with tools, with a tourniquet, with towing equipment, tire repair kits, air pump. I always have that stuff with me.
Right.
Jumper cables, always have
Right.
them, no matter what. So anyway, so just to get into it, how much time we got, Walter?
Oh, yeah, 12 minutes.
Okay.
We're at 12.
Okay, so this is just a bag. There's nothing special about this bag. I got this when I went to CERT training, and they gave it to me. So it says CERT on here. But it's a bag. It's fine. It's not that great, really. Some of the zippers are falling apart, but it is what it is. But anyway, so the things that I carry here, I like it because it has a lot of different pockets, which is good. Thank you. Okay, so, and I'm sure that I've forgotten things over the years. But anyway, this is to start off with. Remember, you want to be able to see. So this is a head. This is a a headlight. You put it on your head, and that way you don't have to hold the flashlight. And it's been there for a long time, and it still works just fine. So battery's good, and you strap it on your as a headset. Then I have I want to replicate things. So in terms of like water, what I have in here is I have about, I think, 2 or 3 liters of water, but I also have an empty canteen somewhere right here, and it's empty for a reason because I don't have to refill it all the time. And then I have these emergency survival straws that I can suck water up, and then my plan is to suck water out of sources and then put it in my bottle. And then I also have water treatment pills in case I need those. So different ways of approaching the water situation. Then I have this is an extra pair of glasses. I wear glasses, so this is a foldable set of glasses. Tape is super important. Duct tape, or that's electrical tape. This is my first aid kit in this particular case, and it's got just regular bandages, compresses, things like that. Then I've got a knife. This is a foldable knife. The good thing about this knife is that it's got a can opener, a bottle opener. It's got all on it. Very useful tools, is all. And then wipes are important for various reasons. This is a fire steel, and this will also another way of starting a fire. So I have all different ways of starting fires. This is basically a weed chopper, a wood splitter, whatever I need it for. It's bigger than a regular knife, but smaller than a hatchet. And had this thing forever. Duct tape. Saw.
What about food?
I'm gonna get to that.
Oh, okay.
This is a survival paracord cord, and it has different strands. So it has all these strands that you can unwind here, and it has you can use it for tinder. So you can unwind it for tinder. You can unwind it's got a copper line in there for various things. It just all kinds of different types of material in this line besides just being a rope. Then I have this is a hammock, and I went around and around about a hammock or a tent. It seemed more logical to be able to get off the ground if I could. So this is my hammock, but also can serve as a shelter. And then I have food. Now
There you go.
This is lifeguard. This is the lifeboat emergency rations, and this is what does it say here? I think this is good for 3 days worth of food of high calorie rations, because you're not going to be cooking in a situation like this. You want to be able to just have food. This is my jungle bag, so it's a lightweight, cool weather sleeping bag. This won't protect you sub-zero, but you can go down to 30 degrees in this sleeping bag, and that's how big it is. It's not very big.
You know, the one thing that you mentioned about food is if you have an emergency and you do not have to leave the house and you're there, roads are blocked, you can't get out, it's important to have your food and your water at home that you can access for at least a week. Is important.
Well,
because
FEMA's saying 2 weeks now.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that at least you have that, and that's why it's important to have that.
So just a bag full of bags. Empty bags are useful, so useful in an emergency.
I think you have something here.
Oh, yeah.
You got gloves,
Yeah,
which are
gloves.
important.
Right, gloves are very important.
Yeah.
I have space blankets. They're cheap and they're light and they're extremely useful. These things actually work very, very well, and they're good for a rain poncho. They will keep you warm in the cold, and they cost next to nothing, and they take up hardly any space. So whenever you have an empty spot, just throw some in. I got these several years ago. These are these are 5-year shelf life boxes of water, and I like these because they're rectangle. They're not round, and you can store a lot of water in a relatively small amount of space. I bought a whole case of these. I open one every once in a while and drink one. This one's about, I want to say, close to 10 years old. It's fine, it's fine. There's no plastic. It's all some kind of other material in here, and the water is perfectly good.
That's great.
So there's that. I've got several more of those stashed in this pack.
Okay.
Let's see what else I got here. A whistle.
A whistle.
Whistle's really important. Compass.
Yeah, whistle is important also at home, because all of a sudden you get trapped, or you get you can't move, or you're injured, and you can blow that whistle to let others know that you're still alive and you're okay.
This is the most highly recommended survival radio. It has a crank that you can charge a battery with.
Right.
And you can charge up your cell phones. It also has a little solar cell at the top here, and then you can get AM, FM radio on this and the Weather Channel. It has a battery, but I have it unplugged because there's a plug that's unplugged because I don't want to damage the battery, have it drained down. But the battery is fine. So this is my survival. Radios are really important. I've got several at home here. I've got a small one and I've got a bigger one because they will continue to work. They will continue to broadcast emergency messages. When everything else is out, you'll be able to tune into an emergency radio channel and find out what's going on.
Well, that's great.
Well, we're not done yet.
Okay.
Hold on a second. So let's see, what else do I have? Hold on. What else? Okay, so then I got
More water.
more water. Anywhere I could find something. So this is a safety light. So it's a stick. That's what these are. Just trying to be redundant in preparation. So that's my primary bug out bag. That's the one I carry around in the car. This is the one that I expected I would use if I had to leave my car and carry it. It's a backpack, so it can be carried like a backpack. And then also in my car, I carry a bag like this, and depending on where I'm going, I rotate stuff out of this all the time. And this is my food bag. So I'm saying, well, prepper versus non-prepper. So, I have things like, this is canned albacore tuna. It's got a pop lid on here, so you don't have to use it.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter's good. Chicken, more water, beef sticks, energy bars. So this is my food bag, and that's what I've got in here. It'll last quite a while. And then I also carry, besides my rudimentary first aid kit, I have another multi-tool stuck on here. This is in my car all the time. And
Here you go.
okay,
Let me help you.
sure.
We'll be on the road and you'll need me to open this.
So I have another much more comprehensive first aid kit with tools in there, tweezers and scissors, things like that. I have local maps, which are really important. This is what they call an Israeli bandage, and it's designed to stop bleeding, and it has a blood clot chemical in there. You slap it on the wound, and it has a strap, and you strap it on there, and it'll stop most wounds. Another light glow stick, binoculars, a tourniquet, and more water. So that's that. So this is what I carry around with me, believe it or not.
Mike is as prepared as can be for any scenario.
But it's still not enough.
And it always, but again, in an emergency, he is totally prepared. And even though you might not have everything that he has, it's important to have the food, the water, the knife, the flashlight, the different things the radio, that is important in an emergency. And so I know we got to cut this short because there's a lot more to talk about, but we hope that you enjoyed this presentation, because emergencies, you never know when they're going to happen. Be prepared.
All right, take care and talk to you soon.